So this is basically a RAG pipeline supported by dynamic knowledge, where the knowledge is fed through an API service. In previous demonstration, we have seen the knowledge is fed by referring a local document. But here in this example, we are going to feed the information dynamically from the API source. So let's quickly run this application, this ollama bot. So previous application was built using Mistral bot. Now this application I built using ollama bot, which was demonstrated in our earlier episodes. So I just tweaked it a bit. It aligns with the RAG pipeline. So first I will run this. Then we will go through the internal building blocks of this RAG pipeline. Python, ollama, RAG bot, dynamic knowledge. So the bot started running now. I have fed few news APIs here so that whatever user inputs here, we are going to fetch it. I'll ask simply put a query like what is happening between US and China. So I'm fetching information from 3 news resources which are open sourced. So let's see what it answers actually. So it said President Donald Trump issued an executive introducing new tariffs. And let's ask one more, what is happening in Nepal? So these resources, sometimes they may be outdated a bit, but I think there is no news about Nepal from the news sources that are available to me. Let me ask any latest news about celebrities. Seems like we got a news here. There is some news about celebrities from the news sources which I am relying on. This is how dynamic RAG pipeline works. Let me exit this. Well, let's go to the core building blocks of this dynamic RAG pipeline. The pipeline is more or less similar to what we have seen for the static knowledge base. Only few things will get changed here. Instead of reading the data from document, we're reading it from a API. So dynamic knowledge having a news classes which I created by myself to pull the news from various sources, news API, media stack, and news status. At least one of the hosts might be having what I'm asking for. So that's why I have chosen 3 different sources. And once I get the data from these sources, then I prepare the news as a text format in the same way that we did for the documents. And once we have knowledge base, which news is ready, then again it's the same step that we feed the vector data with the news content. And again, we retrieve based on the query. Major difference between the previous and current one is in static knowledge, we updated the data even before queried. That means we know the context that we are going to ask queries. That means it's a purely private and local. We dumped the entire document to the vector database in the first place. Then we started accepting the queries from the user. Unlike the static one, this is dynamic. We need to look for the real-time data. Here, as soon as the user asks the query, we hit the API and we get the latest information and feed it to the vector database, and then we retrieve the data which is relevant to the user query from the vector database. That's how the dynamic knowledge RAG pipeline works in the first place.